Do you like to celebrate Nurses Week? Well, I want to take this opportunity to wish you a very happy Nurses Week 2019. During this time, let's reflect on 10 or more reasons to love the nursing profession and being a nurse. So let's celebrate right here on episode 207 of The Nurse Keith Show. Well, hello and welcome to the Nurse Keith Show. I'm so grateful you're listening, whether it's your first time or you've been hanging out with me for months or years here on the airwaves. Thanks for being part of the growing Nurse Keith Nation and for tuning in this Nurses Week special episode. This podcast is all about you and your nursing career, and I'm here to share education, inspiration, and ideas that'll get you moving in a positive and inspired direction. And did you know you can leave a rating and review for the Nurse Keith Show over on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else where you get your podcasts? Well, that really helps other people find the show, and I would super duper appreciate it if you would do that for me as a Nurses Week gift. And if you let me know you did so, I will read your review and thank you on air. Meanwhile, if you want to see the show notes for this episode, you can follow along at nursekeith.com/the word episode and the number 207. Anyway, let's hop into the studio and get going celebrating Nurses Week. Well, as I mentioned, yes, it is Nurses Week, and this happens to be Nurses Week 2019, and I couldn't be happier doing what I do, supporting nurses like you in developing your career, your personal growth, and trying to increase your overall happiness and satisfaction. We are trying to get that satisfaction meter to 11. So, out of a scale of 1 to 10, we want it at an 11, and I know it can seem like a heavy lift, but this is the time to celebrate and think about the ways in which we are grateful for our profession and our career and decide how we're going to take it to the next level. I see, personally, the nursing profession as being on the ascendant, and I want to give you 10 solid reasons to love nursing, your career as a nurse, and being a valuable and respected health care professional. Are you ready for that? I'm ready for that, so let's go for it. So, there are always reasons to be unhappy if you look for them, and nurses are, in general, pretty good at finding those reasons. And I admit, the vicissitudes and challenges of being a nurse are many, and yes, complaints are valid. However, we also need to look at how there are compelling reasons to not feel downtrodden and to feel that we can overcome our challenges and knock it out of the park in our career. I admit there's bullying, there's burnout, there's exhaustion, there are problems with staffing and nurse-patient ratios, and our noble profession can seem like it is being thrown under the bus on a regular basis, and you can feel like you're in an emotional tailspin, and those challenges are real, I admit it. But for this episode, just for about 30 minutes, we're focusing on the things that we love, not because we're in denial, but because there's always room to celebrate. So reason number 1, why we can be happy and celebrate being nurses. Well, nurses are highly respected. That ubiquitous Gallup poll tells us so. Nursing professionals are the number 1 choice of the American citizenry for the most trustworthy and honest professionals in the entire country. Members of Congress and people who sell cars are way down on the list, but nurses remain at the top for very good reason. Now, if you're at the mall and you stop your average random person and ask them what nurses do, they may not really be able to give you a full picture of what nurses are capable of, other than that we take care of sick people. Well, that's part of what we do, but there's a lot more to it. You know that. I knew that. And We are highly supportive and compassionate people. We make a difference in so many patients' and clients' lives all the time, and we also contribute to our communities. So in essence, when you tell someone that you meet at a party that you're a nurse, they're either going to look at you with great respect, they're going to praise your selflessness, they're going to pity you for how hard you work and what you face on a day-to-day basis, or they might ask you to follow them into the bathroom so that you can look at a mole on their back. Reason number 2, the possibilities of specialization in nursing are, in a word, endless. Some nurses may feel that you have to work in a hospital to be a quote-unquote real nurse, but you and I know that this perception and opinion is entirely spurious and untrue, and there are real nurses doing all sorts of things, often completely divorced and separate from the clinical space, just like yours truly. So many nurses, that might be you as well, and me, have never worked in a hospital. We've never set foot in a hospital in a professional capacity since graduating from nursing school. And someone like me, if you would happen to ask, am very proud of the fact that I haven't worked in a hospital because I've found my greener pastures and they were not in the halls of large hospital-type facilities. And there has never been a better time in history to pursue the endless possibilities that are at your fingertips. The world is your nursing oyster if you are willing to see the forest for the trees, and the options are open for you to explore, whether it's medical sales and training, all sorts of clinical specialties, non-clinical specialties, teaching, consulting, etc. Some nurses even take their training, their education, and their experience, and they combine it with an MBA or a law degree or any other kind of professional development and licensure or certification, even outside of the healthcare universe. Yes, there are nurses who don't even work in healthcare, but they are still nurses. So the possibilities are endless if you're willing to see them. Reason number 3 to give thanks and celebrate being a nurse. Nursing skills are incredibly useful. Back when I decided to become a nurse, before I even got into the program, my next door neighbor told me, if you're going to be a nurse, you have to recognize that you are sometimes going to have to be a carpenter, a plumber, an electrician, a priest, a rabbi, a counselor, a marital therapist. You'll have to do everything and anything with your patients at some point or another. And you know what? He's right. In my work in home care, I have walked into patients' homes when a huge family row was going on, and I had to mediate that argument and get people to calm down and sit at the same table, metaphorically and literally. I have fixed plumbing under my patient's sink when it seemed like they couldn't get a plumber over and something needed to be unstopped. I've done that. I've changed light bulbs for elderly patients. I have done so many things. Now, always, I would never go beyond my scope of practice, though you could say that unplugging a drain might not be within my scope of practice, but I did it anyway. But our skills are useful. Have you ever been driving down the road and you see a car accident and you happen to be the first one there? I've been there many times. I bet you have too. You grab the gloves out of your glove compartment, you grab your first aid kit and a blanket, you run down the road, and you see what you can do to help people in distress. You assess them, you do triage, you do first aid, and you wait for the ambulance and the EMTs and the first responders to get there. Nursing skills are useful almost anywhere you go. Is there a doctor in the house is frequently yelled in theaters or on a plane, but they can also yell, is there a nurse in the house? And nurses are almost always the first ones to put their hand up, volunteer, roll up their sleeves, and do what needs to be done. So your skills are transferable and they can help many people even when you're not at work, because you know what? You know as well as I do, once a nurse, always a nurse, and you can never take it away because being a nurse is in your blood, in your hands, and in your consciousness. Reason number 4, job growth for nurses looks very, very good for the foreseeable future. For registered nurses, I don't know whether that's bachelor's or associate prepared because the Bureau of Labor Statistics does not delineate that because they just don't know enough about nursing to know to do that. But they tell us that job growth is definitely in the high teens or almost 20% between 2019 right now at the time of this recording and 2026. We don't expect that to change. However, please also note that it's different in various geographical locations. Job growth for nurse practitioners and other advanced practice registered nurses is now in the 30% range between this time and 2026, and that's why everybody and their mother seems to be going to nurse practitioner school. Will that tighten up over time? Yes, probably, as more and more and more nurse practitioners are churned out of all of these schools. However, we can see that nurse practitioners have their place. They're being recognized. They now have full practice autonomy in about half the states and territories of the United States. More are coming online soon, I hope. So, job growth looks good, and the possibilities there are still quite wide open. Reason number 5 to celebrate and enjoy being a nurse. There's always more to learn. Yes, we learned a lot in nursing school. Yes, we've learned a lot more actually doing the job ourselves. And there's always more with the rise of electronic medical records, robotics, artificial intelligence, various types of technological innovations. There is room for us to continue to learn and grow as healthcare professionals. There's also always more to learn about diseases, pathologies, medications, new treatments, integrative medicine, complementary therapies. The list goes on and on and on. So if you are a lifelong learner, and I hope you are, because all nurses should be lifelong learners, because we cannot just stick with what we thought we knew before. We need to make sure that we look at all the other possibilities, right? So there's never been a better time for you, yes, you're listening, I see you, I hear you, for you to dig deeper, to learn more, to amass more skills, to get more knowledge in that brain, that beautiful nursing brain of yours, and continue to grow as a professional and a person. So after the break, we are going to come back for the second half, the second group of 5 reasons to love being a nurse and to celebrate the nursing profession. Don't touch that dial, and we will be back with the second half of the Nurse Keith Show, episode 207. So now we're going to take a pause for the cause for just a moment. Please consider becoming a patron of the Nurse Keith Show, just like other listeners who value the show so much that they want to give just a little bit each month to support the work we're doing here. When you pledge, you not only get the satisfaction of helping produce and support the show, you also get some pretty nifty premiums and gifts directly from yours truly. Just head over to patreon.com/Nurse Keith to read all about it. That's patreon.com/Nurse Keith. Also, please consider signing up for my newsletter at nursekeith.com so that you can receive my bi-weekly message just for you. Finally, if someone you know could benefit from career coaching with me, please consider referring them. And if they become a paying client, even if they do one session, you'll receive credit for 1 hour of coaching with me, and there's no expiration date on that credit, and you can keep it in your back pocket until you need it most. Remember that you can refer as many people as you like and continue to earn those coaching credits over time. What a deal! Those are my sincere asks of you, dear listener. So now let's dig back into today's topic. All right, and we're back. Thanks for listening here at episode 207 of the Nurse Keith Show. Remember that the show notes are at nursekeith.com/the word episode and the number 207. We went through the first 5 reasons to enjoy being a nurse and to celebrate Nurses Week. And now, drum roll please, we are going to hit 6 through 10. Now, reason number 6 is that nurse entrepreneurship is, in a word, exploding. Nurse entrepreneurs are everywhere. There are now multiple training programs for becoming a board-certified nurse coach. I was among, I think, the first 100 people to receive and earn that designation. I'm very proud of that accomplishment. And there are so many opportunities for you to become a nurse entrepreneur if you want to. This could mean quitting your job and starting a business like me and becoming 100% self-employed. You could be a pajamapreneur like me, working at home most of the time, or you can have a side hustle, maybe write for a living and earn, an extra $500 a month or something to support yourself and your family. Or you can build all sorts of opportunities for yourself if you can think creatively and see the opportunities before you. I do highly recommend, as always, attending the National Nurses in Business Association annual conference in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's coming up in September of 2019. I'll be there. I'm speaking. I'm also now on the board of advisors, and I'm deeply involved in the nurse entrepreneurial universe. So if you want to become a member of that universe, let me know. Hit me up. We can talk about it. There are plenty of reasons and opportunities to do this and lots of support if you choose to. Nurse entrepreneurship is the wave of the future. You don't need to be a nurse practitioner in a state with full practice autonomy to hang a shingle. You can hang a shingle or create a business doing a variety of things, whether it's full-time, part-time, or very, very, very part-time, or very full-time like me. And you can have a lot of fun doing it and make some good money along the way. So nurse entrepreneurship is exploding, and you can join in that supernova if you choose to. Reason numero 7, number 7, nursing is a beautiful combination of art and science. People often say that nursing is a calling, and I can agree with that. I heard the call. Maybe you heard the call too. Some people choose nursing just because it seems practical. That's cool too. But the art and science of nursing is there for all of us. It's in our grasp or within our grasp if we want to carry that mantle. Let me explain. We all know that nursing is science-based. Your associate's degree, your master's degree, your bachelor's degree are bachelor's or master's or associate of science for a reason. That's because we learn pathophys, pharmacology, anatomy and physiology. All those things are science-based, and all of the tasks that we are involved in, or, many of the tasks in which we participate as bedside nurses or clinically oriented nurses, yes, those are also often science-based. If you're going to measure the INO on a patient who's on a water restriction because of renal disease or kidney failure or something, there's science involved there, right? You're going to follow the INO, you're going to record it, you're going to add it all up, you're going to do your calculations. You interpret an EKG, that's scientific. You interpret a arterial blood gases, that's scientific. However, you and I both know, we recognize that there's an art. There's the art of conversation, the art of connection and communication, the art of knowing how to approach a dying patient, how to talk to the parents of a baby who just died, how to talk to employees if you're, let's say, an occupational nurse, and you need to definitely cajole them and bring them into the fold of self-care and taking care of themselves and preventive medicine. There's an art to that. There's an art to that ability to provide and participate in motivational interviewing, or being able to bring a patient out of the depths of anxiety and depression so that they can actually talk about what's in their heart and what's on their mind. Yes, there's some science there, but it is an art. You, my nurse listener, my beautiful, wonderful nurse listener, you're a scientist, but you're also an artist. Feel it, claim it, acknowledge it, and be it. Reason number 8, your nursing skills, remember, plumber, electrician, rabbi, counselor, they can be leveraged in an endless variety of ways. I talked about using your nursing skills to, let's say, run down the street and help someone who was just in a car accident. I talked about the ability to speak with parents who just lost a child or someone who's dying or any of those things. Those nursing skills can be leveraged in an endless variety of ways, including out in the wider world. As a nurse, you understand communication. You understand connection. You understand human behavior. So those skills, which might seem like quote-unquote soft skills, but they're still very important, aren't they? You can utilize them in your relationships when you're talking to a teenager who you're friends with, or the child of a client of yours. If you're talking to an elder who's in your life, you can bring your nursing skills and your nursing knowledge to bear. I don't mean going outside your scope of practice, of course. I don't mean giving medical advice when you shouldn't be giving medical advice, but just know this, that your skills can be used in a variety of ways. I previously talked about how you can leverage them where you can actually become a nurse entrepreneur, or you can create new opportunities for yourself. Your skills, your knowledge can benefit others and also benefit yourself. And if you dig deep enough and watch closely enough, you can see that you, yes, you, as a nurse, can impact so many aspects of your life and the world around you and the people around you. It can really blow your mind. Now, reason number 9 is related to reason number 8. Your skills as a nurse and your knowledge can allow you to serve others through a variety of volunteer opportunities. I just became a volunteer with a program here where I am going out to visit a elder who's isolated, whose family doesn't live here in Santa Fe. They're hundreds and hundreds of miles away. And I am actually using my skills as a nurse, my ability to provide comfort and compassion and empathy and engaging conversation with an elder in my community who I'll be seeing every other week at least as a volunteer. That feels really, really good to me. Now, you can volunteer for the Red Cross. You can staff a first aid booth or a blood pressure screening booth at a marathon or at the mall or for a women's group in your town or city, at a school. You can volunteer, and any volunteer coordinator or recruiter will fall over themselves to recruit a nurse because they know that nurses are trusted, and they also know nurses are skilled, trustworthy, honest, and have a lot to bring to the table. So if you're not volunteering now, I encourage you to do so. Volunteering can be a wonderful, wonderful way to give back, to feel good about yourself, and to apply your nursing knowledge and skills in a different but exciting way. Finally, number 10, a reason to give thanks for being a nurse and to celebrate Nurses Week is that you're amazing and you know it. If you're a nurse, I'm sorry, you are amazing. And if you are not in touch with your fabulous amazingness, you need to let Nurse Keith know, and I will tell you why you should love yourself, appreciate yourself, give thanks for who you are and what you bring to the world, and acknowledge that because you chose to be a nurse, you are a member of a special club, and you are amazing, and you need to acknowledge your amazing fantabulousness. So remember, if you're not feeling especially amazing, email me at keith@nursekeith.com. Tell me the ways in which you are not feeling amazing as a nurse, and I will have an email conversation with you just to help you see that there are ways that you can actually acknowledge and visualize and operationalize in your mind why you are incredible. Now I want to bring you a bonus reason for loving being a nurse and why we should celebrate being nurses in this wonderful profession. We all know that we go into nursing for the incredible money, right? Amazing, amazing money and benefits. And the hours are fabulous, aren't they? Aren't those of you who work 11 to 7 overnight, aren't those hours just fabulous? And finally, the outfits, those scrubs and those shoes, they are sexy, aren't they? Now, I'm joking, of course, but, we need to joke too. And that is actually a reason to love nursing, that we can laugh about it. And yes, gallows humor is important to us. Nurses often like kind of macabre humor, and I can totally see why. There's lots of fun memes on social media about why nursing can be so gross, the gross things we touch and smell and feel and experience and see. Boy, the stories we can tell, right? So remember those sexy outfits, the awesome shoes, the amazing salaries and benefits and vacation time, and the incredible hours. Man, that's something to give thanks for, isn't it? Well, there you have it. This is my little celebration between just you and me for Nurses Week 2019. But these 11 reasons to love nursing in the nursing profession are valid 365 days a year. Remember that the show notes for this episode are at nursekeith.com/episode 207. There's going to be a couple videos embedded there, as well as a list of these reasons that you can share with others or read yourself to reinforce the messages within this episode. I hope you do feel uplifted and empowered, and I hope that you can celebrate yourself and, as I said earlier, acknowledge your amazing fantabulousness. And did you know there are job listings and other resources at nursekeith.com? That is right. You can now find jobs from both Reload and ZipRecruiter in the resources section of nursekeith.com, as well as openmd.com, a free search engine for you to find excellent, peer-reviewed, highly valuable resources when you're looking stuff up. Skip Google, go to openmd.com, and that is also in the resources section of nursekeith.com. The Nurse Keith Show is and has been and will continue to be edited and produced by Tim Hollowell and his awesome team at thepodcastinggroup.com. Feel free to go to thepodcastinggroup.com and send them a message through the contact page telling them how they're doing with the Nurse Keith Show and how incredible their work is to support me and the messages I bring to you. Social media is handled by Mark Cappy Speeson, our social ringmaster and media maven. Keep tuning in again. We're going to continue to explore how to powerfully and consistently elevate your nursing career into your very own professional nursing stratosphere. Be well, dig deep, seek joy, keep in touch. And this is Nurse Keith signing off from beautiful and sunny and absolutely stunningly gorgeous Santa Fe, New Mexico. See you on the flip side.